Hi there, my name is Tercy Engelhardt, and I would like to welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. So let's see here. You guys are familiar if you've been with me for a while that every week I say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. I do believe that we are intended to travel together, especially on the path of becoming more of who we are created to be, which is the focus of this particular podcast. While I am sharing from my own personal journey of living an addictive lifestyle for 20 years, healing from teenage sexual abuse, and then the addiction of an eating disorder, it's really just the tidbits of wisdom that have arisen over this 40 years that I'm now stepping into at Easter. And yeah, just sharing that wisdom through my stories, past and current, because I know I gained oftentimes a sense of direction and my next step from somebody else's story. And that's my hope. My hope is that you hear something that guides you in taking the next step. Because honestly, I mean, as I reach closer to 80 than 70, I recognize that taking the next step is what's so important, that we always have the opportunity to heal, to grow, to surrender, to let go, to let more love in, and to thus let more love out, which ultimately is, I believe, the purpose of this life. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Grateful to have you. Remember, I don't have your answers. You do, but I may be able to guide you toward discovering the answers to whatever it is that you're facing. Okay, so um, this particular episode is called Commitment Matters, and there's a cost to indecision. And if you've been listening, you know that I'm kind of walking through this early phase of my sister having been diagnosed with colorectal cancer and navigating that world with her. Like, obviously, she's navigating that. I'm on the sidelines, but I'm very much committed to walking this journey with her. We've been together since I was born. She's 2 years older than I am. And it's been an amazing journey being her sister and having her as my sister. And while there have been lots of ups and downs, the love's never wavered, and it's not going to now. So, lots of times when we talk about commitment, the example we give, of course, is relationship or marriage. And I do have someone who I think thought probably they would never get married, and they got engaged on Valentine's Day, and we're very grateful for that. And I always ask people, so do you feel differently? And he said, oh, it's unbelievable how different it feels. Because there is something in making a commitment that changes things for you. There's a decisiveness that settles in that makes something real. I think it brings something from the spiritual world, and it sets it into motion in this planetary world, this world that we call reality. And then you live into that. So it really is a way of merging, I think, the spiritual with your day-to-day life. And I believe that exists in commitment, in all commitments. So for my sister, that state of indecision is exhausting because you don't really know what the next step is. You don't really know what to choose. You're afraid of making the wrong choice. And I shared that a bit with you last week. And then something happens, whatever it is, something happens. So you begin to move towards choosing, making a choice. And remember, choosing is actually not killing off the alternative, because deciding actually comes from the same root word as suicide, pesticide. It's to kill off alternatives. But the truth is, in choosing, the alternative still is there, and you could change your mind and shift your choice. But choosing is powerful. And when we're standing in that indecisive place, not having made a choice, it's unsettling. It's nerve-wracking, overwhelming, exhausting, nauseating, because we haven't yet lined ourselves up towards some commitment that we're willing to bet our life on, take the next step towards. And my sister has begun to make choices. And what I notice is as she makes choices, she gets more freedom. She leaves that place of indecision and she begins to feel more confident, uh, more solid, more supported, more loved. She can let in what's all around her as she chooses freely for herself. And that's a beautiful thing to be a part of. Um, just as for me, I've listened and watched her go through this journey in these early stages. And what became clear for me is that I'm going to walk this path with her. And I let her know, like, sweetie, if you get to the place where you need care that's not available, I'll care for you, whatever that looks like. Get yourself here, we'll get you here, and I'll care for you. I'll walk this path with you. You are not alone. And for myself, that also feels stabilizing. And yeah, it takes me out of that place of indecision and has me choose powerfully to be with her through this, whatever this looks like. And we don't know yet. Today, she had her MRI. She'll wait to get that read and talk to both the oncologist and the surgeon again. Her sons are involved. They're going to listen and help. But the thing that's so beautiful is to listen to how centered she feels right now because she chose. She's making a choice and she's looked at the options and now she finds herself being guided towards something that feels good to her, even though we all know that all the choices that are available when we're battling some disease are oftentimes iffy and uncertain and not fun. But it's also part of life. I think we have a distorted view of death and dying. And it's important for all of us, no matter what age you are, to begin to realize death is a part of life. And it can also be beautiful. It can be guided. It can be full of love and tenderness and mercy and grace. But we don't think of it that way. I was telling someone who lives here on the farm today. We were walking back from the farm store, and I said, um, I've read something recently, and it kind of reframed my view of the medical complex doing everything it can to keep you alive. Another way of seeing that is they prolong death, and that shifts things when you think of it that way, because none of us want to prolong the suffering or prolong death. And yet, so often, what's offered as a solution to dying actually prolongs it. And people are oftentimes living longer than the disease itself would have had them live. And the question always is, which is what I think my sister's been wrestling with, is what's the cost of that? And is it worth it? So, um, you may not have anyone in your life currently that's looking at this kind of diagnosis or walking down this journey, but take the lesson and fit it into your life, because the truth is all of us are dying a little bit every day. And oftentimes what we do is we kill off alternatives as opposed to allowing ourselves to choose freely. And when we choose freely, we actually experience the freedom of choice. And that's a beautiful thing. And I wish it for all of us. And so that's what I want us to take on this week, is see if you can't take a look at the choices you're making and freely make those choices so that you too can experience the freedom of choosing. Okay? Have a beautiful week. I'll be here next week, and I look forward to seeing you then.